Now it's recording. Okay.
There you go. Oh, right. You have a new laptop now, bro. So you got the
Ability to do it. Yeah. My
right.
old
Okay, because I was like, wait a minute, I'm not doing it. That's right.
yeah.
That's right. That's right.
The old laptop,
Oh,
like I said, I don't know what was going on.
okay.
It wasn't
Out
getting
with the old and with the new.
yeah. So now
I was like, oh,
hey, this is just signs of things to come. Everything's gonna just keep going smooth from
everything is happening.
yeah.
You know
Okay,
what I mean?
okay. So
That's what's up.
let's just welcome everybody back to Practically Fit podcast where we are going to uh you know
We just talk
discuss.
about things.
Yeah, we're going to discuss topics within the fitness world and get a practically fit solution to everything. I'm one of your hosts, Nakeem,
And I'm Mikey. What's going on?
and thank you for coming to today's episode. Right. So today we're going to hit a
Yeah,
slew of
man.
topics.
Couple
Uh,
as we kind of go about
yeah,
this
since
step.
we've
It's
had
been a
like some
while. It's been a
yeah
while. Had some time off to
yeah, it's been a while, had some time. So today we're just going to
do some
go
things.
through a couple of topics, run them through, and get it in today. All
Yeah,
right.
just kind of fill out each other's opinions on it, and just like
Yeah.
really chop it up, honestly, on things that we may be well versed in, may not.
Yeah.
These two in particular, I'm not super well versed in, but they are things that have been definitely trends and
Popular.
trending and kind of
Yeah.
just upticking as
So,
far as not just people like that are in the working out, but just general people in general.
mm, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, hey, a lot of people,
a
and
lot of people, a
the
lot of
first,
people.
yeah, the first thing I want to get to talking about is this recent craze that's been sweeping the entire nation, apparently, and that is Ozempics. Sorry, sorry,
Yeah, yeah,
Ozempics, right? The newest miracle weight loss drug that has popped into our current zeitgeist and has been making everybody from celebrities to diabetes patients to the common folk sing about his praises, right? Now you
I
have,
like that. That's a good point. That's a good way to say that. I like the way you said that.
yeah, because
Yeah,
at first, I don't know about you, when I first started to hear about this, I heard about it from more of the celebrity culture world where you were seeing a lot of celebrities that used to, not saying they were huge, but they were
yeah.
a bit thicker than they were. Now they're super duper skinny, and people were
Hmm.
trying to call it as a sign of the times that everybody's trying to get back to that skinny look, and
Hmm.
and that and now that more and more people are getting a hang of it or getting the understanding of what it is, it's
Yeah,
being actively prescribed to more and more and more people, right? And
right.
for like a little bit of context behind Ozempics, it originally started as a drug or prescription, really, for people suffering with type 2 diabetes who are having a bit of more trouble with their weight and keeping their weight management to a proper level, right? And
Hmm.
then as more and more time went on with this one prescription, Hollywood got a hold of it, and after Hollywood got a hold of it, it became more palatable and mainstream for everybody.
Yeah.
Right? Uh,
Yo, bro,
yes,
can I give a quick disclaimer real quick to
yes.
everybody?
Let's go for it.
In no way, shape, or form are Nakeem and I. Well, I don't know if you have like a nutrition certification. I don't. I do know this for a fact. We're not pharmacists, pharmacologists. We're not nurses, healthcare professionals. I do work in the healthcare field as a clinician. I mean, technically, yes, I am a healthcare professional, but in a very specific niche field. But we are not um pharmacologists. So we're not gonna sit and say, don't do this because this. Obviously, everybody consult your doctor if you hear anything about any type of a drug anywhere. But we are just giving our professional
Yes.
opinions based on what we know and what we've studied. Because Nakeem, I know you have your degree in kinesiology.
Mhm.
if I'm not mistaken. But also, y'all, if y'all don't know, if he didn't mention it in the first episode, Nakeem is also a physicist. I mean, well, I don't want to put that label on you if you don't want that label, but I met Nakeem when he was a physics major when we started at Potsdam, SUNY Potsdam together in New York.
Mhm.
Um, so Nakeem knows a little bit about the universe and the physics of the world and how the physics work. And I have a background in exercise science as well as some general nutrition knowledge. I'm not gonna say background in nutrition because I didn't study it,
Yeah,
like as my major, but I took a few nutrition classes as part of my um degree disciplines and some of the disciplines I had to learn in my degree program. But generally, I have an exercise science background, with some personal training experience
yeah,
and some nutritional knowledge and just some general biology stuff and how the body works and
yeah,
things like that. Just to put that out, because I know people like to take stuff and just run with it. So just to say, always consult your primary care physician about
yeah,
anything all the time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like in general, all these things are just opinions pulled from either certain articles that were read or videos that were produced on this, right? It's never a wholesale, you should or should not do this. This is just giving you a broader understanding of like the different, what do you call it? Not politics. What's the word? Different,
Broader understanding of
the different sides to the argument, basically.
yeah,
That's what I think.
from the scope of trainers who
Yeah,
have backgrounds in kinesiology and exercise science and also physics and some nutritional knowledge.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We don't know anything about, I mean, we know what prescription drugs are, but again, not pharmacologists. We don't know, I don't know biochemistry. I know
Sure.
science. We know science, but we don't know like the specific science of prescription drugs and
Yeah,
how drugs are prescribed to patients.
yeah. And and also with this one specific prescription drug, there is a lot of, how do I say, a lot of just mystery or not mystery. There's a lot of,
With Ozempic in particular, you talking about?
yeah, there's a
Okay.
lot of, I guess that word is hype around it, right?
I okay, yeah, I like that.
Where it's
'Cause-
like, yeah, because
well, let me ask you this before you continue. I'm
yeah,
sorry to cut you.
you're fine.
Where have you been hearing about it? Like, and I'm not talking about like, I mean, obviously social media, but like in the world, like you
Oh,
heard with
me,
your own physical ears, not on social media.
uh,
What type of place are you hearing it?
I'm hearing this mainly from just people on the street, like, because
Okay.
like I have like generally I have a decent to good figure on me, right? And so from time to time, I'll just be out and it's a lot, and I'll be
I kind
very,
of lost you a little bit there.
oh, you can't hear me?
I think the thing might have glitched out, but I think what I heard you say is you have a decent physique that people notice. Basically, is what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Okay, you can hear me now? Can you hear me
Okay.
now?
Yeah, the audio, yeah, the audio is good. The visual kind of froze a little bit, or kind of lagged a little bit. I think we're back though.
Good?
Okay. Yeah, but what I caught you saying was you hear it from mostly people on the street and like
Yeah.
and then I heard being someone that has
A certain physique.
a pretty
Because
good physique.
yeah, I was saying for the most part, a lot of the times who are the most people I'm hearing something about Ozempics from are for majority of it women, right?
Uh-huh.
A lot of times I'm hearing anything that has to deal with Ozempics from women, mainly like mothers, right?
Okay.
And I think that is really what is skewing a lot of the conversation at times with this one particular medicine in my eyes, right? Because
Hmm.
the most people I'm hearing this from are people who are on a certain leg of their life, right?
Hmm. Right.
It's not that they're super old, and it's not that they're obese. It is that a lot of times they are. in a certain phase in their life where where like a lot of hormonal things are changing, and so it's harder for them to put down some of the weight that they've been working on, right? Because a lot of these
Yeah,
people, a lot of times, are not are also not just people who sit around. They are also people who are what do you call it? Either in the gym,
yeah,
going for a walk, doing X, Y, and Z, right? And a lot of
yeah.
these times, these people do happen to be black, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's like certain elements
People, wait, what people that
that
go that take
mentioned this
Ozempic or oh that have
mentioned
mentioned?
that I've mentioned
Okay,
Ozempic to me. Like the people who've taken it, I've probably not run into. Like I don't think I've yet run into somebody who has said that they've openly take Ozempics, right?
yeah,
Mainly because I'm in a field where like if somebody says that, it might start putting asterisks on like a lot of the believability that people will give them.
yeah,
So like it's just one of those things, right?
right. Okay, so generally, like this drug is a drug used for, well,
I'm not saying
well,
used.
let's go. Yeah,
I'm
let's
saying
go into the
on my end, I'm saying mentioned first by people who are like lower income people mention this all lower income people to lower income people to not obese but like teetering that line, right?
mhm,
And
casually mentioning Ozempics as a potential solution.
yeah, and
Okay.
then mothers who are experiencing a lot of, you know, retention of body fat after giving birth to like one or two kids.
Okay. I give. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, so all in all, the kind of like overall, so Ozempic is a drug that is used for the purpose of type 2 diabetic patients struggling with weight management to keep the effects of their diabetes to a minimum. But recently, so I guess with clinical trials showing that, actually, let me just read this Google AI overview. Ozempic, a weekly injection used to treat type 2 diabetes, has become popular on social media for its potential to help with weight loss. Clinical trials have shown that the drug can cause weight loss in diabetic patients, and some celebrities, including Chelsea Handler and Tracy Morgan, have shared their experiences with it online. That's a terribly written sentence, but I get what they're saying. Um, and I think wherein lies the problem is that it is a drug that is used primarily to treat diabetic patients, but I guess people are taking the whole fact that it helps with weight loss. Well, I'm not a diabetic, but if it helps with late weight loss for these people, maybe it can help with weight loss for me and weight management for me. Therein lies the problem is it's a drug that's likely been studied. Well, not likely, it said it in the AI overview from Google that the clinical trials are based on type 2 diabetic patients, not otherwise healthy individuals with no abnormal or adverse, health effects, or I'm sorry, what is it, chronic illnesses such as diabetes, high blood pressure, high heart disease, high cholesterol, things like that. So when you take a drug, not saying physically take, I mean, yes, in both ways, when you take a drug that's primarily used in clinical trial has clinical trials proven, but based on a subset of people, that does not necessarily mean that it will help people outside of that subset
Yeah,
that was studied or that sample.
yeah. I
Um,
was gonna also say, let's not forget where this type of drug is getting popular in.
yeah,
America has a general obesity problem, right? So anything that seems like the golden nugget to help solve this problem will get a lot of screen time for most Americans
absolutely.
generally because like yeah, this is we like there is generally like an obesity crisis in America, right? Like I wouldn't say most Americans, but I will say a good portion of American citizens are facing health issues from being obese, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll even go a step further and say like not even just from being obese or overweight. I mean, yes, those are things that are likely to cause you some adverse health issues, but just in general, just having unhealthy lifestyle habits and just
Yeah,
make poor lifestyle choices. Because there's even people that could look like they don't have to look overweight. They could look like they're not in, not the most fit looking individual, but they don't look like they're out of shape. That could be super unhealthy if you did a check of their gut health or whatever, or check blood work or what their LDLs and HDLs are, which are these are specific things that determine the overall health and the efficiency of the way a person's body moves and processes, its own bodily functions.
yeah. And then
Um,
on top of that, we also do have a lot of celebrity worship in America, and a lot of general times like you will have a
a
lot
lot
of
of idolatry, man.
huh?
No, idolatry, like you're idolizing,
Yeah.
idolatry,
Yeah.
idolizing people other
Yeah.
than God.
Yeah, we do have a lot of celebrity worship, and like a lot of the celebrities that we will tend to worship, whether it be on the male, men or women's side of things, tend to have physiques that are quite literally unattainable, right? Because I think we talked about this one time when we were met when I had mentioned the
I'm sure
guy
we have. Yeah.
from the guy who played in The Immortals, or that
Oh, yes, that guy. He was the yeah, and that was his power.
yeah,
He was strong.
yeah, he was. Yeah, but if you looked at him before he played in that role in the Immortals, and then after, you would be like, oh, this is an unattainable body in the amount of time that he was given. Or
Yes.
or even more recently, you could look at somebody like Hugh Jackman, right? Hugh Jackman is, if I'm wrong, close to 50. Let me look that up right now. But either way,
Okay.
Hugh Jackman is a relatively older man, right? But
Yeah.
he is being pushed as being he like for this recent movie, he's 55. Oh, I was off by saying he's close to 50. He is almost
Wow.
he is almost in his 60s. And this man looks like he's in his relative 30s, maybe even pushing uh late 20s, mid 30s, right? And that is all coming from just this,
Wolverine.
yeah,
Oh,
that Wolverine role. That's not
yeah.
an achievable look for somebody who is in their 50s, especially if he hadn't been keeping up with his regular physique post his Hollywood career. Because if we look back to like some of his more recent movies, but the Wolver after the whole Wolverine stint, if we look to some of the movies and some of the plays that he was being in, not saying he was like skinny, but he definitely toned down a lot of his muscle mass from being in these roles that required him a lot of muscle mass. Even
Got you.
even the guy who plays Thor, if you look at him now versus that last Thor movie, it's two different dudes, right?
Oh, you talking about Chris Hemsworth?
Yeah, like I'm not saying he's not like a jacked individual, but I am saying that after playing in the that last Thor movie, it's obvious that that amount of muscle that he had put on his body was not a what do you call it? Not a feasible thing for his body to keep up with. And after he got finished with those two movies, after he got finished with that last movie, it's obvious that his body went back to where it was comfortable with.
Right. I
And
see what you're saying.
yeah,
But like you're talking about like post movie, like so you almost think that like maybe it's almost like a going on a bulk
yeah,
and then you get to like the show and then
yeah,
after the show like you kind of let yourself
get back to
come back taper back down.
yeah. That
Got you. Okay,
and
okay.
that's going for like a lot of the guy side. For a lot of the women's side of things, especially with I mean, in recent times, I would say
Yeah.
that there's been more general acceptance of like different physiques when it comes to women's depiction, right?
Yo, bro, what's
Yes.
that? Can you pause real quick?
Yeah, I got you. But yeah, like
Okay.
women's physiques, like over time have been you do have a bit, and I'm not saying it's like a huge one, but you do have a little bit more of how do I say a little bit more
Clientele
representation, right? Where
representation as far as like what?
different shapes and forms. Like if you look at somebody like do you know who Jade Cargill is?
Jade Cargill?
Yeah, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, but she's a wrestler. She's a black wrestler.
Okay. I'll look her up and I can get a
But yeah,
visual.
she's a black wrestler, right? And she's if you look at her,
Oh, Jade
yeah,
Cargill. Okay. Ah,
yeah,
okay. Yep.
yeah, you see her. She's a very like,
She's
well,
more brolic than me. I'm not even brolic.
yeah, she's a well-built woman. I'll say that, right? And
Hmm.
she has been really, really at of recent times the face of like
Oh, she
women.
used to play basketball, it looks
Yeah,
like.
because I think
Okay.
she's
Okay.
relatively tall. Like I don't.
So likely she's probably above average
Yeah, I think she's like
for women.
what? Where is it? Yeah, she's 5'10". So she's like a
5'10"? Okay,
yeah,
so she was a hooper for real.
yeah. She's a taller woman. But you look
She
at
was
somebody
out here hooping.
like Cargill. Let me see. What's another?
So like that's like an example you say of like a body that's not naturally attainable for a woman.
Yes, I would.
But that is completely attainable for a man because a man can look like that naturally relatively easily.
Yeah.
But a
So
man can't look like it's not gonna look like Ronnie Coleman naturally.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, I get because her it's so interesting to see that because like you see like and she's not even that like extreme
yeah.
because
She's
I've
not
seen some like
super duper extreme,
I
but
mean but you could like she's muscular like she
yeah,
you could tell she hits the gym she does everything
yeah,
biceps triceps chest
yeah.
back
She's just like yeah.
glutes
She's fit.
hamstring quadriceps everything yeah
Yeah,
um
she's a very physically fit woman, and there's nothing taken away from her about that. But that's just like in that realm of things that well, I'm not saying whether or not she's on anything. I'm just saying that that type of physique for anybody else but her is kind of achievable. I mean, it's kind of unachievable
for anybody else but her in what population
for women.
for women
Yeah.
uh let me look at yeah because
But
this is where it gets a little dicey too because like
okay.
because we're not women
Yeah, yeah,
and we don't train as genetically born biological women
yeah, yeah.
it's hard
To
like
say
because yes her body is she's extremely well built like she's got I could like she has clearly the biceps deltoids quadriceps she's got six-pack abs which I mean that's actually six-pack is actually not probably one of the not I don't want to say the easiest but that all this lean physiques comes down to diet but as far as her physique
I would
I
say
can't
she's
I can't say I can't definitively say yes or no
no,
if this is
no,
naturally achievable or not. I'm
that's
not
that
sure
that is completely fair.
because I'm not a biological woman.
Yeah, that's completely fair. I'll give that to you, right? Because that is
Just off of looking at her.
yeah,
Just off of looking at her. That's it. But obviously if people go into blood tests and stuff, then that's really the what tells you if someone's natural or not. But there
I'm
are some physiques out there you could look at and be like, okay,
yeah. No,
that's a little crazy.
I'm not even saying that to say that like no woman can get there, right?
Yeah.
What I'm
I get
saying is that like the level to which you have to keep something like that up for a Jade versus
I get you.
regular woman is a world of difference than I think like a regular woman can literally give her time to. Because this is something of she's probably having the best trainers, the best chefs, the best
Yeah. The
what do you call it? Rest time. Everything is like
hmm recovery. Yep. Rest and recovery. Yep.
everything's in a spiral to make this output as best as possible for her.
Yeah. Everything is on point. Right.
Yeah.
Which not everybody has access to.
Yeah, not everybody has access
That
to
too.
the best trainer, the best cook, the best like it is one of those things where it's like, yeah, sure. Is this thing like you said, is this thing attainable for a woman? Probably. But the attainability starts to shrink, like the attainability window starts to shrink as you start putting more addendums to it. Whereas like,
Okay, I get what you're saying.
yeah,
I hear you.
whereas like,
He's okay. Yeah, the likelihood at which someone can attain this is completely dependent on the resources. I mean, not completely, but in large, dependent on the resources they have access to on a day-to-day basis.
yeah, because if you it like because somebody can have the best trainer in the world, but if they don't if they got to work a 12-hour shift after training and then go to sleep for
Yeah,
like 5 hours, well, that's
it's
not
gonna come on a lot slower, your gains.
yeah,
You'll get the gains, but you won't get the gains that the person who can dedicate, you know, 3 days to 4 days a week of training with
yeah,
adequate rest and
yeah.
recovery. I get
Adequate,
what you're
adequate rest, recovery, and they're being and everything they're doing is focused on getting a specific look, right? They're
Yeah,
literally getting paid to focus on a specific look. And that's even rounding back out to like the guys, right? Even with the guys on the guys section, a lot of this stuff tends to be that, yeah, sure. Do they look huge? Yeah, but they're getting paid to look huge, right? You're not getting paid to look huge. You're doing this as a lifestyle choice. They
yeah,
have the trainers, the chefs, the recovery rates, the like
right.
everything working into them coming together to be this physically good looking, right? Which
Yeah,
brings it all back around to how we got here, right? Brings it all back around to people who are living regular lives looking at these celebrities or looking at these
yeah,
people who have these very distinguished and defined physiques going, well, I got like a bit of a gut. My arm, I got like wings on my arms, that X, Y, and Z, right? That's causing
right.
to not be able to get here. What's the best and easiest solution I could find? Oh, Linda was talking
You're
about
right.
Ozempic recently. Let me see what this is all about. Let me like hop on this.
Yeah. And yeah, it's funny you say that because yeah, yeah. And we're in a consumer society, so people are always going to be looking to buy the next best thing, regardless of whether it works or not. If it's new and it's claimed to be the best at the time, people are going to jump on it. Another thing too, I wanted to say, just to kind of make this point, um, of when people looking at what is the best and easiest thing, the best thing is going to vary based on who the individual is, and
Mhm.
there in ease, not no such thing. As
Yes.
far as weight loss and as far as full body transformation, there's no such thing as an easy route.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Coming from someone that isn't even there yet to
Yeah.
where I want to look there is no easy. It's just like when you take someone who is like, you don't have to be extremely overweight or obese, just like overweight, unhappy with how they look. They want to look better, maybe because they want to be able to run around with their kids and grandkids, which is a great why. That's a great reason. And they want to just be able
Hold
to
on
function
to that thought,
well.
please.
Yeah. Yeah. What's up? Well, hold on.
Starting.
Okay. So talking about just the what the actual process and the timeline looks like for someone who starts at one place and goes to another place. So we're talking about, in this case, we're talking about body transformation. And
Mhm.
the Keem was mentioned earlier. A lot of people will look at a celebrity or someone and idolize them and say, I wish I had that physique, and say, all right, what is going to be the best and the easiest way for me to get there? And I said, the best way is going to vary person to person. The easiest way does not exist. There's no such thing. And the reason for that, well, not really the reason for that. There isn't a specific reason, but I'll tell you what it is. When you take someone who's, like I was saying, overweight, they don't even have to be morbidly obese or like severely overweight. They just have to be overweight, unhappy with their body, and they want to get in better shape because they want to be able to run around with their kids and their grandkids and go to sports and do things like that, which is a great one. That's a fantastic reason. I think everybody wants to be able to do that and be able to just function and move well into their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and just live a quality life as far as physical movement and your ability to function in activities of daily living. Um, so you take a person where they're at, mind you, there's a series of things that got them to whatever state of health they're in. Um, you have to break down a system. That system is a way of thinking, it's the lifestyle habits, it's their own activities of daily living, all the things. Because if they are look a certain way and they're unhappy with it, guess what? The reason for that is it's the conjuring up and it's the coming together of all of their daily habits that cause the person to be a certain body weight and look a certain way and have a certain physique. It is not and I mean, with regards to, I mean, some people have certain genetic things or just diseases and chronic conditions that they develop that make it harder for them to maintain weight. But let's just say for all intents and purposes, we're talking about someone that doesn't have that type of deficit and is just a generally healthy person and can do it without the restriction of or resistance of a chronic condition. You have to break down every system, every thing that they've ever known and thought to be true about weight loss and training and being in shape or getting in shape and staying in shape. You have to retrain the way they think about it. Like it's this whole process. So like point I'm trying to make is like there is no ease of getting to transforming your body
Yeah.
and becoming someone who is fit and healthy and then
Yeah.
keeping it on. It's not that it's not easy or hard. It's just it's work.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It just started pouring out here.
It's
Gee.
raining again.
It's pouring, bro.
Oh, let me check my weather app real quick.
Oh
Oh, it's coming down.
my goodness. They said it was gonna rain though at around like 2, 3. They said it was gonna be bad, man.
Okay. That's funny.
Oh
But
man, there's gonna be mad traffic.
but
Oh
ultimately what you were getting at is that yeah, different strokes for different folks, basically, right? No, like there is no one solution to everybody's issue that in regards to weight loss. Everybody's going
yeah,
to have their own particular journey, and that might just sound frustrating to a lot of people, as when you are going to not even just weight loss, when you're going into something specific for yourself in regards to health and fitness, it is a bit of a frustrating paradigm to be, well, this worked for like 10 people. Why can't this work for me? Well, those 10 people are like genetically different. There's this, that, and the third that they have to contend with that you don't have to contend with. Like there's different things for each person. And that is a very frustrating sort of sentiment to be gripped with when you are starting your entire journey out. And that's understandably, it's understandable to be frustrated with that and choose a path that seems like everybody's jumping on, right? That seems like this is the path that I can take in order to get to point B. But
yeah,
ultimately, you have to, through your means, figure out how to properly facilitate yourself getting to where you want to get to, right?
yep,
And I think that uh I don't know about you. Like, I think that's all I can really add into this conversation about Ozempics, right? Or
yeah. I mean, I guess I'm glad. I was so funny. I was literally just thinking like to like kind of getting back to the Ozempic and what was kind of prefaced in the beginning. I mean, yeah, I kind of said it in the disclaimer is anytime anyone quotes a drug that's a non-medical professional,
Mm-hmm.
first you need to do your own research.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously you may not be able to get into your doctor's office right away, but do your own research
Mm-hmm.
on it with a grain of salt and speak to your doctor. Don't do your own research and be like, oh, okay, this will work for me because it works for yada 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 yada. No, do your own research with a grain of salt. Understand what you've read, process it, and then go talk to your doctor.
Yeah, and understand something like Ozempic is still like early in its early stages, so there's not going to be but so many articles out there about it, right? So you're not
Yeah,
going to see the super duper side effects from it that you might see from something that's like a drug that was used 20 years ago, right? Ozempic
yeah,
is still in its earlier stages.
yeah. But yeah, I'll tell you this though, bro. If we follow trends of just like any, and not that Ozempic is not a regulated drug, it is because it's used in diabetes patients. But I guess you could almost like kind of put it in a subcategory of like, no, it's regulated, but like as far as for use of the purpose of healthy individuals that are just trying to lose weight, the side effects you just
Mhm.
don't know. Um, Similarly to the epidemic we have with vapes and smoking in
Mhm.
kids, like because it wasn't when they came out, they weren't licit or illicit. Licit meaning legal,
Mhm.
illicit meaning illegal.
Mhm.
It was kind of just floating in a balance between being legal and not legal. So it really was kind of they were untouchable for a while as far as like whether they could sell it or not. There were rules obviously in certain establishments, might like schools and places where they didn't allow it, but like you weren't getting arrested for smoking vape. You know what I'm saying? There was no laws against it or for it. Um, but similarly, like people were just kind of doing it. They're like, well, it's just water vapor. Again, this is before people got educated on what it actually was and what the actual ingredients are that cause it to be smokable in
Give
that
me one
way.
second. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, gotta go real quick.
I'm sorry about that. You can continue.
No, it's okay. Um, so like it's just similar to anything else that comes out in trends where people don't really know much about it until they know about it. You know what I mean? It's like we don't know about it till we know about it. So like initially, and I think like healthcare professionals warned against it always were, especially like respiratory people that like pulmonologists would warn against the effects of smoking and people getting things like popcorn lung and having like you were getting kids that were smoking it after a certain amount of time with the lungs of like a 30-year veteran smoker
Yeah.
because it's not so much like the one time you do it, it's the constant micro damage similar. Well, let me say this and I'll compare it to something positive. The micro damage that you do to your lungs from when like doing it one, if I were to do it one time, that's not going to necessarily make cause my lungs to look like a smoker's lung.
Mhm.
But it's like the fact that people are doing it every day. Let me take a hit. Let me take a hit. By the way, I don't promote vaping at all. I'm disclaiming that too. I don't. Not, Nakeem don't. Um. So this motion, I don't want people to get confused by that motion.
Yeah.
Um. But that constant like daily, every day of doing it and putting little deposits of whatever chemicals are inside of that in your lungs and smoking it and that just the whole combination of everything does a sizable amount of damage to your respiratory system um that causes one's lungs to look like that. And so like why is it a problem? Well, there's no reason why a 14, 15, 16-year-old kid's lungs should look like the young lungs of a 40, 50-year-old smoker who's been smoking for 25 years.
Yeah.
That is that's no bueno.
Mhm.
That's not good. That is very not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um so if people didn't kind of catch that analogy of like smoking little, I mean, I think you got the point of what I was trying to say with that, right?
Yeah.
Like
It,
it's not the one time you do it. It's kind of like when people go to the gym for the first time and they're like, "Why am I not brolic?"
mhm.
Because you only went one time.
Mhm.
You have to continue to break down and rebuild the muscle. So it's like the problem with the smoking is you're reinforcing that bad habit. You're reinforcing the damage that you've just done. So whatever reparation it was trying to do because the body is very good at repairing itself. You canceled it out the next time
And
you
I think
actually did it.
that might just ultimate also be a issue with just human beings in general, where it's easy. How do I say? It's easy to have a habit. It's hard to start a habit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you
Yeah.
have a habit that you do daily, like let's say you 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 take out the trash every Tuesday, and after you take out the trash, you go for uh, a mile walk, right? It's easy to have that habit of right after I take the trash out, I'm going for the mile walk. Then to be like, all right, tomorrow when I take out the trash, I'm going to go for a mile walk, right? It's
Yeah.
because once you take the trash out, put it down, you're like, you know what? Actually, it's kind of hot today. Let me. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. Tomorrow
Yeah.
comes by. It's super cold. I wasn't dressed for this. Let me do X, Y, and Z. You know, actually, let me go to the park instead. You know, actually, let me do this, that, and the third instead. Right? It's easier for your mind to build. It's easier for your mind to have that habit instilled than
All
to
yeah. Mm-hmm. All the excuses to not start the thing.
yeah, than to like
Yeah. Instead
try
of just doing it.
to have it. Right?
Come on, man. Be like Nike. Just do it.
Yeah, and that's really what it comes down to a lot of times for people is
We don't have no sponsorship by Nike, by the way. Even though I'm definitely
if
wearing a
only,
Nike.
if only, right?
I know, right?
Nike sponsor
Nah.
us. We like, oh man, Nike sponsors. We everything is going to be shot on 4K video. We
I
got
know, right?
we got every single mic in the background just in case.
I had a boom mic above my head. I
Yeah.
got the mic capturing the rain outside so you can hear
Yeah.
how bad it is. Yo, that's mad funny.
So yeah,
Nah, I mean, but yeah, I mean, I guess if I can kind of go, not transition, but pivot a little bit, like, because this is practically fit, right? Where we kind of try to give you the practical, not just fitness advice, but just lifestyle advice overall, but from the perspective
yeah,
of two individuals who are practically fit.
yeah,
Um, on how to navigate issues and just issues and trends and just popular things in the world in general, not just in the fitness world, but in the world. Um, and I mean, for me, I'll be honest, I'll be completely honest, I'll be completely transparent. I recently had to get myself back on track with my diet and the foods that I am taking in on a day-to-day basis because my last yearly checkup I did, which was this past April, was not great, man. I mean, I'm over exaggerating a little bit, but it was a particular stat in general that I wasn't too happy with, and it was my LDLs,
hmm
my low density lipoprotein, which for those of you that don't know, that's referring to cholesterol. So cholesterol is two different types of cholesterol in the body. It's the HDL, which is the high density lipoprotein. That's the stuff that is good. We'll just call it good. We don't need to get too crazy into the science. And
hmm
LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, the stuff that deposits plaque over time and clogs up your arteries, and is the stuff that can increase your blood pressure, which can lead to other adverse
hmm
health effects, which are not what you want. Um, and so my LDLs were high, and the reason why I'm more concerned now is because they were already on the higher end from my first yearly with this primary that I have now,
hmm
and they went up. So I actually trended up.
hmm
And so from that, I kind of said, okay, and like I know why, bro. I know it's my diet and the way I eat. It is not the best. And again, I'm being fully transparent, just to say, like, and this is good, like that. No, nobody's perfect, bro. I have an okay physique. I had a terrible diet,
hmm
and it's still improving as we speak. But needless to say, like I'll just kind of go into some of the things that I cut out. Oh, and also from that same yearly, I did an allergy panel as well. And I have allergy to milk, bro.
Really?
I've always I've always had allergic reactions to goat's milk as
Yeah.
far as like a bad reaction like anaphylaxis, but it's on the scale. Like if this is the scale here to here, this is like um barely allergic, and this is like severely allergic. I'm like here.
Okay.
So like not enough for me to go into anaphylaxis, but enough for me to like I'm lactose intolerant. But I've
Yeah.
always known that, and that didn't surprise me that that came back that way. But goat cheese, I'm like here and
Mhm.
probably even off the charts with
Yeah.
it because it's that bad for me. Um, but needless to say though, I know that it is my diet that is causing me to have my LDLs as high as they are, and so I mean, some of the things I cut out have been dairy, not only for the improvement of the LDLs, but also because I am allergic to milk. So I don't want to be farting left and right with it
Yeah.
24/7. But I've cut out saturated, not all. I've limited. I'm not gonna say cut out. I've limited saturated fat. I've cut dairy. I've limited saturated fat to a minimum. Um, I've cut like
Ult- Ultimately,
sweets.
yeah.
Yeah,
Not to cut
candy.
you off,
Yeah.
but ultimately, what you're saying is that even though we are sitting at this position of authority, there are still things that both of us are working on and working towards within our own personal health journeys in order to
Yeah,
make sure that we both are at a specific spot within our life, right? So
yeah.
it's never generally a thing of like, oh, we have the code, we have the code fully figured out. Like
Nope.
even in this, both of us have our shortcomings, our things that we have to get over, um, X, Y, and Z, but
Yep.
both are still making our strides in order to get into a place of certainty with our health and our overall physiques, right? And
Yeah.
and that,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's okay
And
to.
I'll tell you, yeah. Go ahead, bro. My bad. It's okay
I
to my bad. Go
was
ahead.
gonna say it's okay. It is okay. I previously said that your journey into your health and fitness world is going to be very specific to you, but it's also okay to not have all the answers, right? If somebody
Yeah.
comes online and claims to have every single answer in the book, then that's really somebody who's just trying to collect a paycheck at the end of the day. And hey, for what it's worth, if they want to, if that's the case, that's the case. But at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it is more about just the faithful understanding of ourselves and our mission statement and what we're doing here, right?
Yeah.
We're not,
Exactly. I don't want to do anybody a disservice here.
yeah, not trying to do a disservice to anybody. We're just trying to help people gain a certain level of understanding, right?
Yep.
So,
Exactly.
uh,
And yeah, and I mean to the point I was yeah, exactly. Pretty much what he was saying is we are not sitting here as experts, just people that have seeked the the truth. Um, but also point being like where this ties into Ozempic is right. I can only kind of tie it into what its marketed as, right? So I have to take what is it marketed as? It's not really marketed, but it's put out as a drug to help type 2 diabetics with maintenance of their weight and even potentially weight loss. It's trending now as can potentially be this sort of miracle drug for weight loss and help people with weight loss without having to do any other work. Because that's the whole reason why these things trend is because people don't want to do the work. And all the things I was going into was showing you that I had to do some work within myself and looking at the things that I eat on a regular. I had to change my lifestyle. And that specific part of my lifestyle was my eating habits. And this goes back into removing and replacing. If you're going to remove a food from your diet, you got to replace it with something else. Because needless to say, at the end of the day, at the bareness of what we are as human beings, we require calories, and we require a certain number of calories to maintain our weight and maintain function and maintain certain levels. So you can't just remove things and just starve yourself and not eat. You have to remove and replace with something better, a healthier alternative, or just an alternative that will push you in the direction of your goals, push you in a positive direction. And for me, I'm a big sweets person. That's my weakness. I love snacks, cookies, candy. I'll eat it all. But recently, I've been eating more fruit, bananas, and particularly bananas and grapes, because I don't know, for whatever reason, we just always have that in the house. We get bananas, grapes. And so I've been that's been like kind of like throughout my day. Um, and that's only, and I'll tell you this, I have not really lost or gained weight. My body fat has decreased because I can physically see the definition in my arms coming back. The abdominals have come back. I could see the four pack. The bottom is still kind of struggling a little bit, but I think that's everybody.
Yeah.
Um, but mind you, I haven't even been in the gym
Mhm.
since I've been changing my diet. And these are the changes that I've physically have seen. So imagine if I was hitting the gym hard
Yeah.
with it. Because I'm also, well, I gotta get back now, but I actually injured my back,
Yeah.
bro. I in the gym, so I was recovering from that, but I gotta get my butt back in there. But needless to say, like these are just some of the benefits you can get from just starting. And I'm not, again, let me disclaim real quick. You're not gonna go and eat bananas and grapes for a week and gain the physique of your dreams. What I'm saying is adding these little changes over time, and I'm not talking about a week, 2 weeks. I'm talking about like months. In the month's time, you can start to see and absolutely definitely feel a difference
Yes.
because the calories you get from fruit, especially like grapes, which are I think mostly water, or carry a lot of water,
Yeah.
are gonna help with a, a number of things.
Things. Yeah. Yeah.
Benefit you in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and that like yeah, and that's generally generally the moral of the story in regards to the that's generally the moral of the story, encapsulating everything that we've been talking about with this whole Ozempics, with this whole celebrity worship, with this whole everything, right? Is
Yep,
that yeah, is a lot of this a lot of what being healthy is meticulous work, but
attention to details.
yeah,
Yeah,
meticulous work, attention to detail, but
especially
it's
as you get older, bro.
yeah, especially as you get older. But
Yo,
but
yo,
all this is done with a purpose. It's not done just out of the ether, right? And
yeah.
so as we keep coming back, we'll keep diving more and more into this fitness world and just one uncovering a lot of stuff, but also sharing out this little life advice that can possibly help you move forward and understandably help you not feel as frustrated as you should be in this whole journey, right? Because
Yep.
it's not just
It
because
shouldn't be a frustrating thing.
just because you're going through it, just because it's your personal journey, does not mean you have to go through it alone, right? That's
Yeah.
that's the biggest difference.
Yep. And let me fix what I said too. It shouldn't be a frustrating thing. It's not a fair statement to say because I can even look back to a time where I was frustrated. Um, it can be frustrating. Not that when I say it shouldn't be, meaning like at a certain point it should be enjoyable and you want to get to the place where like you're okay, you're enjoying it because you're doing it for you,
Yeah,
not because you're doing it for someone else. Because
yeah,
I can remember being frustrated. Like, yo, how is he that big? How does he look like that? How does he have? How could he move that much? Oh yeah, yeah, no. Being frustrated is as much a part of it as anything else, especially if you've started it for the first time.
yeah. Yes, and that's a great sentiment. Um, and I think I want to end things here on that sentiment. I'm gonna let that be the last thing that we go out on, right?
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
yeah, it's a good spot.
yeah, that's a good.
Um,
So yeah,
just yeah, I think the overall. What do you want people to take away from like this as far as what we've talked about with because we went into a lot of things, but obviously the main thing was like this recent trend in Ozempic and
Yeah.
People
I
just
w-
talking about the potential benefits for non type 2 diabetics and its effects on weight loss.
yeah. What I
What do you
was
want
going
people to draw from
what I
that?
was going to say is like what I was going to say is draw from how we were getting to our conclusion with this, right? Where
Uh-huh.
it's more so about the particular journey you're going through, that like the road that the road that everybody takes in a certain sense in regards to health and well-being is not necessarily the road that is for you. The road that is for you comes from your own understanding of yourself and a little bit of, helpful research, in that
Yes.
even though certain people may be speaking to you with a certain level of authority, that's not the end all be all for what is the best outcome for you as the person, right?
Yeah.
Because
Oh yeah.
there will be multiple times where just because a lot of people are saying something, that doesn't mean that it's the golden goose, right? Everybody has something to say about something specific, and you will have your own journey to go through that with. You might even start the road that everybody takes initially, right? But ending it
Mm-hmm.
off on the road that is designed for you is where you have to end off at. And that's what I got.
I like that. Great. I'm gonna try to draw from one of those things that you said, which I did write down. You said, you know, about you don't have to draw from one authority. And I'll just kind of to piggyback off of that. There is no one authority or one thing that is, as far as advice about health and fitness, that is better than the next, including us. The master of your physique and your health and fitness and your physique and your wellness and your activities of daily living and your everything is you.
Mhm.
Um, because you know your body better than anybody else,
Mhm.
even your doctor. Because your doctor doesn't feel the things that you feel on the inside, doesn't know what pain or what how you feel when you eat certain foods and whatnot. Not to say to not trust your doctor's advice when they give you advice,
Yeah.
but you're gonna know your body better than anybody else because you live in it.
Mhm.
Um, so again, it's about finding when it comes to the gym training, it's about finding what exercises work for you, but also maybe even finding an accountability partner, whether that be a trainer or just a friend that you trust. Um, Finding things that work for you that you like to do, also with food and eating. Like for me, I realize the big reason why it's bananas and grapes for me is because those are fruits that I like to eat. I like to eat other fruits too, but those are two ones that I really like to eat.
Yeah.
Finding the foods that you like to eat is huge
Yeah.
because there's a lot of fruits and vegetables that are super healthy to eat that people just don't like to eat because maybe they don't like the taste or the texture. That's
Yeah.
okay. We're all different. Find the stuff you like to eat that's healthy for you, that's good, that cannot be bad for you. There's certain foods like I've heard people say like you can't eat too much. You eat too much fruit and you can become diabetic because of the amount of sugar. You know how much fruit you have to eat to become diabetic from because you're eating too much of the sugar from the fruit?
Yeah.
It's an insurmountable amount. It's ridiculous to even ever say that and hear that. And I don't care. I haven't even looked at the science of that too much, but it's ridiculous to say that.
Mhm.
Um, Fruit is fine as long as it's not like candied fruit covered in sugar and syrup. Fruit in its raw form, fruits, vegetables. Just find the things that you like and learn what you like to eat and cater it to you. Cater it to yourself.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, don't try
Yeah.
to fit a mold. Create your own. Create your own.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a good place to end it off. I'll be signing out. My name's Nakeem,
Yeah, bro. We out of here. I'm Mikey.
and thank you for listening to another episode of Practically Fit.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless everyone. Thank you.
All right. Peace.